said, excuse me, but you don't understand where I'm at. I was all around the world, on span, cross the map. I've been laying low and now it's time to pop up, bitch, I'm back. Now I'ma run it up. Snooze on the kid, are you dumb or what? You better go get your numbers up. Now throw me the oop. I gotta hire a Jerry Maguire. I'm tired of hearing it. Show me the loot. I had to listen. They told me to shoot. Like it or not, man, I told them the truth. I stay away from the things that be causing me trouble. Just out here enjoying the view. Seeing shit I never had. Boy, I used to be a bad boy, and now I'm in my bag. Boy, I knew. I don't do the rumors or the tabloids. I let you handle that noise. That shit doesn't last. No, it's true. Each time that I move, ayy, my free time ain't free time, it's peace signs if you snooze. I got crease lines in my shoes. Walk with me, you see what I do. Walk with me, you see what I mean. Show you how to see it right through. I said, excuse me, but you don't understand where I'm at. I was all around the world, on span, cross the map. I've been laying low and now it's time to pop up, bitch, I'm back. Now I'ma run it up. Snooze on the kid, are you dumb or what? You better go get your numbers up. Really on God, getting paid for this shit while I drink on the job. They so desperate for some clicks to the links on they blog. Being real, man, it's nothing but exhaust. Come on, I said excuse me, please. Why they speak like they knew me? Right from the gate, I had all of it written. When they speak of grace, knowing they didn't include me. It took me a while, I weathered the storm. Bitch, why you hating? Get better informed. No room to slip when the pressure is on. You wasn't with it to move it along. I said excuse me, you don't understand where I'm at. I was all around the world, on span, cross the map. I've been laying low and now it's time to pop up, bitch, I'm back. Now I'ma run it up. Snooze on the kid, are you dumb or what? You better go get your numbers up.
Hop in the car, watch it go vroom, vroom. I told her mom that I blow soon, soon. Knew as a child, back in the womb. Oh, told her step back, I need my broom, vroom. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom. I'm in a whip, so I gotta zoom. They tryna talk, they not in the room. I've been so real, I'm dead to the tomb. They in the way, they gotta move. I gotta gas, they running on fumes. Told them way back, it's something new. It's me and Dan, you gotta choose. I'm taking what's mine, I'm doing fine. Don't see the vision, they looking so blind. I hit my low, I don't got the time. Crossing my T's and he dotting those eyes. Don't take offense if I do not oblige. I can't belabor like none of these guys. They hit me once and I'm cutting the ties. I was so low, but I'm back on the rise, it's real. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom, vroom. I told her mom that I blow soon, soon. Knew as a child, back in the womb. Oh, told her step back, I need my broom, vroom. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom. I'm hopping now I gotta go. I'm looking back, they not even close. I had a 4, now I need a ghost. I got a wave like I'm on the coast. Same ones are down and I dare the show. So way that I'm ballin', they think I'm a pro. I'm getting sick by the money I gross. They saying whoa, I told them all what this is. I told them all I don't miss. Said it's my time, look at this shit on my wrist. And when they shootin' this breaks, I'm going in. In a new gig, gotta shift. I cannot stick to the script, I cannot wait. Watch how I get it and flip. This just how I'm doing this shit and I'm gone. Just how I'm doing this shit and I'm gone. Ayy, just how I'm doing this shit and I'm gone. Said I'm taking big shots, just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like the 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like the 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. They been trying to get me cheap like a thrift shop, but I told them it's my time, check the wristwatch. They been talking way before they even doing something. Whoa. If they wanna play, let's get a tip off. Ain't no silver lining, dawg, this some rose gold. Getting new money, I'm a old soul. Yeah, I get it bouncing like a pogo. Whoa. And I'm too cold like Frozone. And my chick elastic, girl. Told them we ain't in the faking, this ain't plastic, girl. Bought a new whip and cash, now my taxi thorough. Way I'm shooting like step with my passive, bro. The way I'm playing the field, I'm in a league of my own. And now they all in they fields, I got them all on my phone. But dog, I'm hitting the climb, I got no time on the low. Way I'm shooting is messy, the way I'm hitting the goals. I'm taking big shots, just stop. Way I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like the 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. I just left, but you know I'm coming back though. And you know I don't play by my rags though. Now go and turn it up to the max, whoa. Send a paper to me now like a fax, whoa. Got 2 phones ringing off the hook now. When I'm in the city, I get looks now. I was going bad, but I'm good now. Said I had to go and put my foot down. Told him I'ma get it and go. Even in the summer, man, he knowing I'm cold. I got a couple checks coming that I made out the flows. Might get a couple more popping if I do it some more. I gotta do it for real. Said I'm back in my bag. All my digits are climbing just like they all on a dash. And he told me slow down, cause dog, I'm moving too fast. Might go and cop me a Tesla, cause dog, I still got a gas. Said I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots.
Look what's next for me, Joe. I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Space shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, man, we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't ever going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on the road, hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream, and Bitcoin continuing to cook to the upside here, guys. Filling our low volume gap. We talked about the fast move down in June, very likely causing a fast move up as we break into that low volume gap. We have now seen that push through the entire gap. We are approaching key resistance. We're approaching a pretty big level of resistance right now, but we have one other resistance above this one that I am mostly focused on because of confluence. We have a ton of key levels. So I'm going to talk about where I think we're going next, guys. Are we going to see this pump continue? Of course, fast move down could equal a fast move up, and a fast move up could equal a fast move down. I'm going to break down everything for you guys, give you the next targets to the upside, go over the bullish case, the bearish case. We'll cover the higher time frames and the lower time frames. If you are not holding along from lower and you're looking for places for bounces, we'll give those to you as well. So shout out to the Mafia. Welcome in. Happy Bitcoin volatility, guys. Nice to see Bitcoin moving once again after that 45-day sideways range. Let's see what's going on. We got Jesse and Darren Does Things holding it down as our mods. Welcome in, guys. We got Alexandra G. Hope you're doing well. Welcome in. Always happy to have you. We got Simonella. I don't never know how to say your name, brother. I'm sorry, but welcome in. We got Crypto Hollywood in the chat. Theo Rodriguez. We got A-Train. Good to see you, A-Train. Got some people coming back here. Some OGs popping in the chat. It's a good sign, at least. Means something exciting's happening, but welcome in. We got Hannah Montana in the chat. What's going on, Hannah? Let's see. We got New Earth Guardian. What's going on, brother? And Rudy with a Y said, let's go, baby. But guys, we got a lot to look at on the charts here on the higher time frames and the lower time frames. So without further ado, don't forget to smash that like button if you appreciate the free content, the free key levels, the free daily analysis we give you here on the channel. Go ahead and smash that like button. It's the easiest and most free way to help support the channel. So without further ado, and if we get 550 likes, guys, I'll drop 10 discount codes for the premium Discord as well. We'll give $100 away to one lucky CandleMafia member, and then hopefully if we can keep this volatility, we can get back to some attention on crypto. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. So let's get into it. All right, guys. So when we talk about a fast move down, potentially equaling a fast move up, we mean it, and we have now seen this gap almost fill in full. I have this actually drawn out for you guys here. So here it is, right? We talk about this within our macro volume profile. You guys can see, of course, this has been our long-term bullish case that we've been looking at for quite some time. Let me just hide this anchored VWAP with, of course, our daily bullish divergences below the low. And I was actually looking here at the, when I was in the YouTube studio, I just happened to look down at my previous videos. And I always talk about the market update that I dropped as this daily bullish divergence was confirmed. This is where we started to talk about the idea of this massive daily bullish divergence being a pretty big bullish signal for at least some kind of significant rise to the upside, first to the value area low of the range. And then, of course, as we get this rise, we look for that money flow coming up, indicating the overall trend. When we have that money flow coming up, we look for those lackluster retracements for higher lows and eventual higher highs. And then we talk about that 67 to 68K level being the biggest level on the chart, right? This is the last place to look. Value area low and POC. When you have these POCs and value area lows very close to each other, I really look at these as a zone. Typically, I talk about the value area low being the doorway to higher prices, but when you have the POC so close to it, you can look at that as a zone. And then as we push up in there, that's kind of the one place to be looking for a short and a potential fake out. But two ways, when you have that liquidity sitting above, two ways that can play out. You can either look for a potential short opportunity for an SFP or a liquidity sweep type setup. But of course, mentioning you have to be careful here because In this case, if you do not get the SFP, which of course we did not get, we just smashed right through this, it could trigger a massive short squeeze, breaking us into this low volume gap that we've had marked off on the chart, talking about the fast move down, very likely equaling a fast move up. Once you break above this level, things could get very exciting as you see the shorts absolutely get squeezed to the upside. And it was one of the reasons I was looking to hold my long position from 58K in this overall thought process of that bigger move up. And the reason I bring up that market update, let me see. Where is it here? Bada boom, bada bing. Major move was on the thumbnail. Bitcoin just flashed a bullish sign talking about this daily bullish divergence down here. And of course, I don't know why my PC is starting to. Oh, I never sent out the Discord alert. Whoops. Or the YouTube alert. Good Lord. All right, those are now out. But yeah, as we talked about in the live stream last night, and in the Discord, obviously, let me just go ahead and pull this up for you real quick. Of course, right, this has been the thought process for a very long time. We've talked about it on every live stream, almost every market update covering this, as we see that daily bullish divergence print even earlier than this, just talking about the idea of when we see this push to the upside, looking for that money flow to come up, and then once we break up in here, right, massive low volume gap, it could be off to the races. And obviously, guys, we have seen this play out very nicely so far. Of course, sentiment is absolutely trashed down here. Everybody wants 40K, 30K. We'll talk about the bearish case as well. Of course, I have to cover the bullish case, the bearish case, and then I'll let you guys know which way I'm leaning. I even want to talk about what we can look for to potentially confirm that the bottom is in. We had a lot of the technical indications down here. I'm not necessarily saying the bottom has to be in right now. We do have to wait for those bigger signs of strength, which will not happen until we get up much higher. But I do want to kind of cover those with you guys because it is an important thing to pay attention to and keep a lookout for in case we do end up seeing that happen. But of course, inside of a bear market with highs, lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, we are still in a major downtrend, but we are approaching a very, very, very critical level. If we continue to the upside, we are potentially approaching the line in the sand for that bearish market structure. So I want to cover that with you guys. But just to kind of talk about this previous price action, all the warning signs have been on the chart for quite some time. Shout out to anybody in the CandleMafia that has seen us talk about this for months at this point. So again, I will cover the local time frames, but I wanted to just start off here kind of showing you guys how we ended up how we got to where we are now, and what we looked at to anticipate that to happen. And we saw everything play out absolutely perfectly and set up perfectly down here at the lows. I will say we are pretty much at the end of this this low volume gap. So of course that fast move down equaling the fast move up is coming to an end here. We got a little bit left to go. But essentially, if this does not show you that learning the volume profiles is not an important thing, I don't know what is. This is how we're able to predict price. Screw the sentiment, screw the narratives. Just pay attention to the charts, guys. We talked about this last night. It is the best thing to do. Miss me with all the noise. I'm just looking at the charts and making my decisions. So there you go. Very, very nice to break above that resistance and see this big pop to the upside. So at this point, guys, we are approaching resistance, and you may say to yourself, well, Frankie, isn't the next resistance sitting up here at the value area high of the range? Well, of course, I am going to be paying attention to this level for more reasons than one. Now, this is a previous volume profile pulled from this previous value back here. Once we broke down out of the range, I stopped that pull. But I am going to look at the current range as well. These are the two major ranges that I'll be looking at here on the macro time frames. And I will just say off the bat, I'll start with the lower level, but just off the bat, I will say I do prefer this value area high as a much bigger level of resistance, and I'll explain to you exactly why that is. But when we pull up the current macro profile, you guys can see deviate below the low, back in, POC. We have now flipped the POC into support before seeing that push into getting very close to the value area high. Now, this is confluent with a very, very major level. When we turn off the volume profiles and we just look at this from a macro perspective, I think it is important to start talking about the macro because, of course, when we start getting close to this high, it is a very, very interesting level. Like I said, you do have continuous lower highs and lower lows. We are, I guess, technically in a bear market, assuming if you assume that the bottom is in here, well, technically this would really be the start of the bull market because the start of the bull market starts at the bottom of the bear, not at new all-time highs, right? People think this is the start of the bull market. Not really. You're about halfway through it at this point, right? The bull market starts at the lows. So depending on if the low is in or not, we are still technically in a bear market, and I think an easy way to identify that is if we're putting in lower highs. And right now, there is still a possibility of putting in a lower high, potentially ending in a lower low. As you guys know, I've talked about 2 scenarios for this bear market. A more optimistic case where we see a little bit more of a lackluster bear market, and again, could potentially call for one more low, but you guys know essentially it is to hold around this 50 to 60K zone, retest those previous all-time highs, and then maybe slip them a little bit and eventually recover for a new bull run. This is the more optimistic case, and I will kind of talk about why we may not need a new low, but I am still open if we do put in that lower high, that a new low can come in until proven otherwise. That is it technically in the cards, but this is the first kind of more optimistic view of this bear market. And everybody waiting for 30K, 40K is really just leaning on the timing and the percentage drawdown of the previous 4-year cycles. But all the technicals, a lot of stuff, as we've covered every single day, right, pointing towards a very significant bottom coming in here. Whether it ends up being the low of the bear market or not, I think there is a possibility of it. I'm not saying the bottom is guaranteed in. Again, we do have to wait for those signs of strength, which are going to happen higher up. I'll cover those in today's video. But at the end of the day, right, we have this idea of, either bottom being in, even if you shrink this down a little bit, right, I would say, not necessarily guaranteed that you have to make a new low. But, at this point, even if we do make a new low, I think this is missing the forest for the trees. Whether you're buying here or here, you're just generally looking to accumulate the bottom of the bear market. This is the bullish case, the optimistic view of a lackluster bear market. Of course, this is much less percentage drawdown than we have seen in previous bear markets. This is about 50. Let's just measure this out, right? About 54% against, the 70+% corrections we've seen in the past. But we've covered yesterday and many a times before, we have topped off on a lackluster interest in crypto, nowhere near the social interest that we had back in 2021. Which could potentially lead to a lackluster bear market, right? Meaning we're not going to go down as deep as we have in the past. So this is the optimistic view. You guys know I'm an agnostic trader. I'm not emotionally married to this idea, but from a technical perspective, we have a lot of the signs on the chart that this is I am hopeful for this case as of right now. The line in the sand, again, is going to be 47K, as you guys know. We're nowhere near that, so no reason to really talk about that. But of course, the more bearish case that a lot of people are praying for is the just traditional 4-year cycle that dropped down to around 30K, maybe in 40K, some people looking for, which, of course, based on the 4-year cycle, is a possibility. But as we sit above our major supports here, above that 2021 value area, there's no reason for me to start looking for that more bearish case until we lose that 47K POC. So I am still optimistic, obviously, for that lackluster bear market to come in. Even if we get another drop, we still have major support down here until that big zone is broken. That's where we can finally look down towards 30K. And we even took a look at this from a psychological perspective. What would cause the most pain? Don't be surprised, guys, if you this rally, right? This rip to the upside. Of course, I'm gonna be expecting pullbacks. And we're not just gonna go up in a straight line forever. It's very likely gonna take some time. But, as I mentioned, this very likely would be an extremely hated rally. So don't be surprised if you see the bears out there getting super, what's the word? Pessimistic of this push to the upside, right? Very oh my God, it's going to go back down. The bulls are going to get wrecked, which, to be fair, could be the case. I'm always going to be open to that as a trader. But, again, we're not going to be ignoring those technical signals. And, as we mentioned, right, this would be a very, very hated rally, right? The bears are not going to like this, but looking at it from a technical perspective, once we break into that value area, we're looking for that push up based off the technicals. And if that were to happen, it's going to put a lot of pressure on the bears looking for 30K for 40K. It's going to be a very hated rally, and the more it continues, the more hated it will be. And then on any significant pullbacks, which I will be expecting throughout this, you will see, right, maybe whether we pull back from here, push up into the major level, which I will cover in a second, those pullbacks are going to be, the bulls are going to get wrecked. Told you. So just be aware for that psychological battle you're going to have to deal with if you're on social media, all that stuff. Again, you don't want to be psychologically attached to this stuff. You just want to pay attention to the information and the data on the charts, which I give to you every single day here. And I will always cover the bearish case, right? Because as much as I am optimistic for the bullish case, like I said, as we sit in this bearish market structure, it is not lost on me that this is obviously a downtrend. But as we push up here, guys, major zone of resistance without the volume profiles, just looking at our macro Fibonacci retracement. Golden pocket, 786. This is a major level, because if you are looking for lower highs and lower lows, this is the place to be looking. Now, obviously, Bitcoin showing a nice bit of strength. Yes, a lot of this was based on liquidations of the shorts coming up. So don't get it twisted, right? Big moves up can also lead to fast moves down. Just be aware of that. I will take a look at the liquidation heat map, which is not showing a ton of liquidity. But I'll cover that in a minute. But just from a general perspective here on a higher time frame, simple market structure, simple Fibonacci retracements, this is a massive level to look at. It's our biggest level of resistance, and if we are going to put in a lower high and you are looking for a new low on Bitcoin, this is the place you would want to be looking at. Once we get above that 786 and flip it into support, this is where I will fully be expecting to take out this high at $82,799. 82,800, right? And this is where we can start to think, right? As I mentioned in the past, right? It is not at the lows where we say, okay, we tapped 15,500, the low is in, right? We can say the bullish divergences are there. There is a good chance of that, but it's really not until you come up and break that market structure, flip it into support where you can say, hey guys, we have the weekly bullish divergence. They are weekly bullish divergences. They are confirmed. We are now breaking, changing character here on the higher time frames, flipping the resistance into support. In that case, it looks like that is your confirmation for the bottom, right? And you're not saying, hey, bottom's in, buy here, right? We're saying, hey, weekly money flow in the red, typically not a bad place to wait for the first big capitulation and then look to accumulate. And then you are looking to, me personally, stopping those dollar cost averages and then just enjoying the bull market. And this is eerily similar to 2022. So I would say this is going to be the biggest level to look at, 82,800 if we do come up here. And of course, turbulence is to be expected. Even if we do get a rejection here, it does not instantly mean guaranteed lower high for a lower low. It could very well be a rejection, but on the way down with our money flow, and if you look here at the weekly, guys, weekly money flow starting to curve to the upside, taking a look at the 6-day money flow, also attempting to curve up. Nothing to write home about just yet, but we do have, a decent attempt to start curving up here. And then when we come on over to the I was going to say 5 hour, then 5 minute. 5-day money flow trying to come up. 4-day money flow starting to cross into the green. 3-day money flow crossing into the green. 2-day money flow still kind of wiggling around here a little bit. More confusing here on the 2-day. And then, of course, daily money flow continuing into the green, which was the main signal we were looking at to see this trend be a higher low for a higher high. So when we do have pullbacks here, we can be open to higher lows and higher highs as we do have that higher time frame money flow crossing into the green. So I wouldn't even say just seeing a rejection here would instantly mean you're going to see a lower low, because obviously a downtrend is going to be a downtrend until, right, not every lower high is created equal, right? The lower high here was, we were in the camp of obviously shorting that sucker down. Same thing here, lower high, very likely continuation into the bear market based on many technical factors. But, eventually, you're not going to be in a downtrend forever, right? Break the 786, start flipping this structure, right? You could be turning into a much bigger uptrend. I wouldn't expect it to look exactly like this, right? But, maybe it's bigger correction, retest, right? Then you eventually break out. It's very likely going to be confusing, but this is the big level, right? Once we get above there, start breaking that structure, you could even see a potential fake out of the highs as well, right? So, this is kind of sign number one to take out the highs. Of course, this could be essentially looking at this as a massive range, right? A fake out of the range, back in, maybe you go back down to the low. But once we start flipping this decisively, that's where you would say, hey, this is a major sign of strength. And then we can look to say, hey, it's looking extremely likely that the bottom is in, right? But we're not there yet, so you don't want to get carried away. We're still making those lower highs and lower lows. This reminds me of everybody, right? You're looking for the higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, and then people are all calling for that higher low, but not all higher lows are created equal, right? It's higher lows and higher highs until the trend changes. The key is trying to find when that trend is going to change. And if we, I would expect a lot of the bears to be going, oh my God, there it is, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, right? But with the money flow coming up here on the higher time frames, We flip that 786, get above the structure, it could be time to change the trend. So we got a little work to do in order for that to be the case. But a lot of people say, like, when would you say the bottom is likely in? I would say flipping this major structure would be the first major sign of strength I'd be looking at. On top of that, when you start getting above this and you start pushing up, guess what happens at that point, right? Let me just pull up this upper profile. This is an older profile, so give me a minute while I try to find this. Bear with me here. Might have to clean up this chart. I just got too many folders. Upper value, no. There it is. Well, once we start getting above that structure, right, at that point, you keep pushing up. You are testing a major, major value area low, doorway to higher prices, right? Once we get accepted in here, the idea would be to fill that full volume profile in full. If you fill that in full, right, you're already approaching all-time highs. Very similar to our 2021 value area from the past cycle, right? Looking at this, deviation below the low, massive weekly bull divs, approach, resistance until proven otherwise, resistance until proven otherwise. Once you get in here, bottom's in, right? And of course, right, flipping that structure is your first major sign of strength. Once you break in here, you're expecting that full value rotation. At that point, it's off to the races, right? Meaning into the next bull market. Very similar to here. Deviate below the low, massive weekly bearish, bullish divergences. Let me just hide these local levels. Right, once you get above here, start getting accepted in. I would consider this very similar to getting accepted above this value area low for a full rotation into the bull market, right? So if we get up here, flip that, right, very likely the bottom is in. And of course, all seen, if that is the case, right, all the warning signs were here. So there's the bullish case, guys. Now, this is not me saying, oh my God, bottom's in 100%. Buy right now. Of course, hopefully you guys are watching over the past few months. This is weekly money flow in the red. This is where you want to start dollar cost averaging in, or at least for me personally. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not a financial advisor. You have to make your own decisions. If you want to wait for 30K, please, I urge you to follow your own plan. But there you go, right? It's an if this, then that statement. This is not me making a prediction that, oh my God, the bottom has to be in, we're going to all-time highs. But it's an if this, then that, right? We still have an opportunity to reject that major Fibonacci resistance, right? It's not until we get above that, start flipping the structure and get accepted in here, right? But at this point, right, you're already at the top of that kind of, at that point, if the bottom is in, right, you're at the top of that bear market range. That's why I always say dollar cost averaging in on the way down is always the better idea. And, of course, if the bearish case does play out and we come down for new lows, this wouldn't even invalidate the more optimistic case for Bitcoin's bear market because we could still come down to make that new low into the value area high and POC of the range. But I don't want to get too carried away with this because we're super far away, right? We'll talk about that if we start getting major rejections. So, yeah, even if we do make a new low, this is still intact. It would really not be until we start losing 47K, where I would say this is the higher probability scenario. And when we talk about the most painful case for most people, right, I think most people are expecting lower prices. So I think the most painful case here for most people would be that the bottom is in. So just food for thought. Be really nice if we were able to see that, but, you know, to call it a technically confirmed bottom, we still have a little bit of work to do, but I am optimistic. So there you go. I do want to cover the local levels with you guys, but I just really wanted to cover these higher time frames and kind of give you guys an idea of where we are. You know, over the past few weeks, or not even through the past few weeks, honestly, months, we've been talking about how if I were to guess where we were in the cycle from a technical perspective, right, not a 4-year cycle perspective, but a technical perspective, it did look like we were somewhere in here, right? Weekly bull divs, and even this big dump, right, big capitulation for the big rip through the volume gap, looking very similar to what we've seen in the past as well. I was talking to the premium Discord today about how I really cannot unsee the similarities here. Doesn't mean it's 100% likely to play out. That's not how I trade, but it is worth looking at, right? When we look at this, right, very, very similar. Weekly bull div confirms. It confirms on a massive capitulation, and then we wiggle around, have a massive sideways range for a very long time, and then eventually we get the pop out of there, filling that gap, and at that point, right, we get above there, start flipping these levels into support. Very, very interesting. Get the confirmation above the structure. Very, very, very similar. Whoops, let me pull that back up. Right? Div, capitulation, fill it, continue up, div, sideways, consolidation, rip back up, fill the gap. That would be what we want to see. So, I mean, just look at that. Very, very, honestly, it almost seems too good to be true for it to be that similar. But something to look at, guys. Just giving you guys my overall thoughts here. So, yeah, I'm not really interested in the confirmation until we get above that structure. Then we can really start talking about that. But, of course, I like to have you guys ready before that stuff happens. Until then, right, got to keep your head on straight because, of course, we are technically still in that bear market situation with major resistance ahead. So it's getting exciting, but we are pushing into that major wall. So let me just pull up the chat here real quick. Where are we at? Where's the chat? There we are. Okay. Let's see. Shout out to Dylan, says business cycles could be affecting BTC more than you think with clarity and ETFs and partially altering the typical 4-year cycle. Yeah, shout out to Dylan. I always try to be careful about this. I'm not one of those people that says this time is different. I'm someone who says when people say this time is different, there's two different scenarios, right? Most of the time when I reference the this time is different crew, these are people who are just calling for this time to be different because they want to call for higher prices, right? This time is different, super cycle, 100K, don't get it, right? This time is different, super cycle, 200K, they don't get it, right? That is not what I would base things off of, right? Especially when this time is different is being absolutely stepped on by these massive bearish confirmations that have marked the top in the past, right? This is how we were able to call the top here. Again, not at 126K, but after the retracement back into 110, saying, 126K is looking like it could be the top. But there's really no reason to say this time is different from a technical factor. As a matter of fact, there is a reason to say this time is absolutely 100% the same from a cycle timing and a technical timing or technical indication perspective, right? So, like, literally anything but different, right? Literally exactly the same. But when you talk about that, not only from a business cycle, everything you just explained, but also from just the fact that we had so much more retail interest in here. I mean, I urge you guys to go look at those social analytics. Like, we were just totally peaked here on search term analytics, absolutely like topped out. Obviously, you lose it in the bear market. And then during this cycle, like, the interest in Bitcoin did not get anywhere near where it was in 2021, which is worth looking at, right? Because there's not as much retail panic to just continue to capitulate that thing super low. So these things can actually affect the market, right? It's not just this time is different. Like, this time is different because we want price to go up, right? These are things that we keep in. And, at the end of the day, it's not something I would look at and be like, we're definitely not going down, right? I've been around long enough to understand that the market will humble you. And you really need to look at the data, right? And that's why I come up here and I talk about, yes, of course, we have the idea of the more optimistic scenario playing out, like I mentioned, whether we put in a new low or not. I would stay in the camp as of right now, right? This is not a prediction. This is my opinion on the current market analysis, is that the bottom is either in or close, right? Closer than many people think, meaning it's either in right now, or if we go down for one more capitulation, the more optimistic view is still open here, putting in a slightly lower low to eventually recover. We would really need to see the loss of that 57K level for me to then, which I will 100% do, right? I'm not going to sit here and be like, but I wanted the optimistic case to play out. Don't worry, guys. If we start losing 47K, I have to say the statistical higher probability is to go lower. But I need the signs on the chart for that, which we have not had since we came down, and we still do not have yet. So there you go, right? And talking about the resistance, right? Like, when I see this Fibonacci retracement, lower highs and lower lows, like, that is a possibility. But on the way down, we can still be optimistic for higher lows. And again, don't be surprised if you start seeing the bears get extremely angry on this rise to the upside, especially if it continues. Again, talked about this months ago. It will be a very hated rally. All seen on the charts, right? No emotional opinion, no narrative opinion. There's none of that. Just all based off the charts. That's why, it keeps it nice and simple. You don't have to pay attention, or at least in my opinion, right? I don't personally have to pay super close attention to what if they pass this act? What if this act gets rejected? What if the person does this? What if this guy sues this or this happens, right? It's not about that. It's about what I see on the charts. You don't have to worry about if, right? We don't have to know. Like, we could say, what if a weekly bull div prints here? But once the weekly bull div prints, it is there. It's not if it's there. It is there, right? It's definitive. It is decisive. That's what I make my decisions off of. People will say, yeah, but what if Trump tweets and then we go lower? Well, it's like, yeah, sure, that can happen, but that's it. I don't know if he's going to tweet, right? What I do know is the bullish divergence is there. And not all bullish divergences are going to play out in a big way, but when you're talking about a weekly bull div, that's a very high time frame. And these weekly bull divs do not print very often. And when they do print, they are very, 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 very important. So, I mean, it really would be crazy, guys, if we look back and all this plays out. It would be crazy because it would just be so close to 2022, and it'd be insane that we mapped out this journey before we ever even made our final all-time high. And I don't say that to brag. I just say because we may have not seen this happen, right? When we're on our way up here and people say, hey, what do you think the bear market could look like? And we pull up that 2021 value area, and I talk about, well, like, listen, this is super speculative. I don't know where we're going to top out, but if we were to top out on massive weekly bearish divergences and we get a big capitulation down, this would be a major, major key level to look at. If we start seeing weekly bull divs in there, yes, it would not be a big 75+% correction, but it would be a significant thing to look at. And it would just be insane for that to be the case. Again, almost too good to be true, but just going to keep my bias based off the information here. So let's jump down to some of the lower time frames, guys. I'll cover kind of what I'm expecting here locally. As I mentioned yesterday, right, there's not much for me to do on these massive pushes to the upside, right? Like, I am not in the camp of, you want to try to catch FOMO longs here. Totally fine to do if that's what you want. But, for me personally, I'd rather be in the situation that I'm currently in, which is obviously holding the long position from 58K and having the, wherewithal to say, hey, I have my plan. I know that filling that macro volume profile is in the cards, and I don't have to worry about trying to catch the long position, right? I just have to worry about holding my position, waiting for that trade to play out. So, again, I would never tell anybody, whether we continue up or not. I always kind of say, like, can we continue up and just continue grinding? Sure. Is it a place where I would just be willing to just take a random long and hope it continues up? No. So I personally would not be forcing trades up here, or forcing longs at least. But I'm just kind of sitting in my position, my long position, and letting it cook, right? That's the benefit of having yourself positioned when everybody is super fearful, and not having to chase it as it comes up. You want to catch the move early and enjoy that move up, right? Just be able to kick back, put your feet on your desk, and let it pay you. So back to these volume profiles. You got the current volume profile coming in here. I would call it between about $73,000 and $74,000. This is local resistance. Can we get a pullback here? Yes. We got a very, very small. I mean, I don't even know if you would. A very tiny, like, bearish divergence here on the 4-hour time frame. Not something super significant that I would pay attention to. Could you just nuke back down from here? Sure. You got some lower time frame bearish divergences, a little cleaner, 80-minute bear div. You did front run the golden pocket. Let me just double check this on. Yeah, if you're looking at this on a log, if you look at this based on log, you are tapping into it. So you are coming up into resistance. You are tapping it. As I always say, right, these value area levels have a very magnetic pull to them. So I would prefer to see that value area high tapped personally, but we are getting very close to that. I'd say $73,000 to $74,000. But there is one more level that I am more interested in, guys. What confluence do we have here? Let's pull up our high time frame levels, right? I'll just show them all. We already broke above the daily MPOC. I could take this. Well, I'll just hide this for now. So you have the golden pocket and the current value area high. Above this, right? Golden pocket, 786 is the zone, right? Golden pocket. If we get above the golden pocket, next likely place for price to go is that 786. The thing I like about that 786 a bit more is two things. Number one, we have a lot of confluence with all of these macro levels. I mean, look at this confluence. Daily, monthly MPOC, a daily MPOC in there. You can't even see it. A daily and a 786. So between these two levels, which one do I favor as a more strong resistance? I would have to say I favor this confluence very clearly, right? You want multiple levels in that zone, and you have 2 levels of confluence here, and you have 7 levels of confluence here. You have the 5 major key horizontal levels and the 786, making it 6 levels. But when we look at the previous volume profile, the value area high sits up there at around 77 to 78K as well. So when you look at it from the previous range perspective, yes, it does look like we could potentially and eventually go for that full fill, right? Local resistance, maybe a pullback. But if we want to go fill that full range, it would be really nice to get that full value area rotation of the previous range. And again, that confluence up there makes this a much more interesting level for me personally. So I am not holding a short. Oh, guys, by the way, short from yesterday, Mafia. You guys got me stopped out. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, obviously, I let chat pick the position yesterday for just randomly took the short. Obviously, got stopped out as I personally expected. But that was just for fun and entertainment purposes. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe we get a pullback here. I'll cover some of the local levels of support, the key levels we want to hold on top of if we do get the pullback. Like I said, you do have some lower time frame bearish divergences. Whoops. You do have some lower time frame bear divs. Again, technically into the fib when based on the log scale. So, but again, like for me personally, like if I miss this, right, it is what it is. I don't mind. Like I'm not really chasing this. I'd rather see the bigger levels tapped. If I miss it, I miss it, right? I just simply couldn't care less. I'd rather miss this, right, and say, well, hey, I didn't hit really the level that I wanted. Even this level that I'm paying more attention to with the front ran value area high here, like I'm totally fair. Like if I miss that, it's whatever. I'll just look for another entry, whether it's on a lower high, right, on a sign of weakness or something like that. I'll just find another trade, right? I don't mind missing the very top because I know there's going to be another opportunity to either enter the short or an opportunity to just look for another long before the move up. So biggest levels of resistance to have on your chart right now, I'd say number one, golden pocket value area, current value area high, 73 to 74K. You could consider this technically tapped. I would personally wait for the golden pocket. You know, there is a funny way of these getting tapped. But, you know, could get a rejection from this zone. Just be aware. And then above that, my favored level, which will be the previous value area high and all of this confluence, right? If we had more confluence here and not up here, I would personally be more interested in that current value area. But at the end of the day, it is still resistance and still can give you a pullback. But I just still think a short up here, in my opinion, would be a better level to look. And again, it's an area of interest, right? It's not an area where I'll set limit orders. Like I said yesterday, when we looked at our local range, right? Our next target was up here between 70 and 71,440. This is an area of interest. This is not a place where I'm just setting a limit order. Of course, you get absolutely zero reaction there, so there is no short trade to take. You get above it, you flip it to support, and you continue higher. So for me, I'm sitting on my hands personally and just sitting in my long position. We'll see if we get the local pullback. But I would love, you know, even to get the push up here. But even when we get up there, you know, will I take a short? Maybe, but I really do favor the $75,000 to $78,000 level, which of course is a level that we've been paying attention to forever, right? There's the macro profile. Whoops. It would be insane if we fill this, guys. Literally saw this. Hang on, let me check that video. When was this posted? June 29th. Literally at the bottom. At the exact bottom here. Let me pull up the daily. June 29th, so the day before the low came in, talking about that daily bullish divergence printing, the money flow, and the potential acceptance into this range for the move up. I don't say it's a brag, guys, at all. I could care less about the egotistical, look, I was right. Oh, my God. I could care less about that. I show you this to teach you what we see and how we see this before it happens, and how we fight through all the negative sentiment, right? Oh, my God, it's going to zero, right? And even if it does come back down here and make a new low, right? That analysis down here is still worth looking at to make money on the way up. So there you go. Let me pull up the chat here real quick. I've kind of been neglecting you guys. All-time fear and greed chart is interesting, too. Shout out to Alan. Maybe we'll take a look at that. Shout out to Walking Dead said, Frankie, it's getting to be that time again. Shout out to Walking Dead. What time? Pump time or dump time? And again, I like to just always reiterate, guys, because thinking about it from my perspective, right? I have to understand that there is likely some people in here that are new, right? And I know when I talk about potentially pushing up into the 75 to 78K level, potentially, flipping this market structure. These are things I am waiting to see if they happen, right? It seems very bullish. Again, for someone who might not understand, maybe newer in their journey, which is totally fine. This is not me saying that we are going to go like this, right? We have already had a massive move up, right? This is never a place, right? If I was not holding along, I would simply be in the position of, oh my God, I missed the low, and I am like, this is painful. And that just is what it is. It's painful. I'm not going to try to long the top. In no reality ever would I ever long a massive green candle like this, even if it continues up, right? Even if I don't long it and it continues up, right? I need to wait. Eventually, the price will stabilize and give me some kind of structure to find another setup, right? So if I was not holding my long from 58K, I would have to wait for some kind of structure to form to find some kind of an entry. And I'm going to go over with you guys the key levels underneath us locally that I'll be looking at. I'm going to start on a higher time frame perspective, and then we'll go down hyper locally. Let's see. Shout out to Eddie, said front ran the value area low at 64.6. Long is up 90% right now. Thank you, Frankie. Shout out to Eddie. Let's go, baby. Let's go. I think we could do it again, guys. I think we could start throwing some cash on the Frankie Candles live stream once again. Even if this is short-lived and we get some kind of crazy dump to the downside, we could throw some money, baby. Come on. Let's go. The bull market's back, baby. I'm just kidding. I take that with a grain of salt, guys. Just trying to have a little bit of fun here. Shout out to Nani says, I remember at 15K and everyone waited for 7 to 8K. It never came. Get the same feeling here. But at the 57K level. Yeah. I mean, it would make a lot of sense. Shout out to Prof said, TA is solid as always. Thank you, Frankie. No problemo, brother. XRP can literally top 25% in a day. And y'all call it garbage. Shout out to Wick589. I don't know if XRP will ever be able to dodge the hate. But like I always say, guys, I don't hate it. I don't date it. I just trade it, man. Make it rain, baby. Let's go. Shout out to Eddie. But let me just go ahead and cover this real quick for you guys. So, of course, we covered the rejection or the resistances. I mean, again, you could currently consider this tap, but me personally, I'd like to see that golden pocket push a little bit harder. This sits between 73, call it 73 and 74K. This actually tap 73.93. So you can consider that technically tapped. I would personally wait. But again, you're talking to someone who does not, I don't mind. I personally do not mind. Like, I can watch this go all the way down and have the psychological fortitude to handle that, right? And then above that, the bigger, more confluent, major level is the 786, right? Golden pocket, flip the golden pocket. 786 is likely. Fill the value area in full. All that major confluent resistance sitting between 75,681 and call it $78,000. So those are the two major resistances. To cover the supports, we just take the resistance off the chart, pull up our current range. Actually, I'll just pull up this macro range. So if we pull back, guys, one major, in general, right? Like I said, these big pushes up can very likely, or I wouldn't even say very likely, but there is a chance, right? If we start pulling back, you have to think a lot of people probably FOMOing in here. Could be a lot of liquidity above. You can eat these moves up very quickly. So just be aware of that. You're still inside this massive low volume gap. If we do pull back, the biggest level, if it's a big pullback, I mean, very clearly on a macro time frame, looking at the high time frames, right? If we get some kind of super significant pullback, the biggest level of support, this was the biggest level of resistance, covered a billion times in the past. Once we break above this level, as long as we don't get the liquidity sweep, which very clearly we did not get, two ways this liquidity, we knew we had tons of liquidity above here. There are two ways liquidity plays out. It is either a big liquidity sweep to fake out the high for a big rejection. In that case, we would have been interested in shorts in the Discord. We had a potential setup sitting here, but we did not get the SFP, right? We just ran right through that level. So I am a reactionary-based trader, right? If I see a level hit, that does not mean instantly short. I need to see a lower time frame entry trigger to actually get in. Obviously here, this liquidity ended up being a massive short squeeze to the upside. So if we wind up eating all this back, the biggest level of support is now going to be the biggest level of resistance. Break above here, break into the profile, right? If we get a big move down, this is the biggest level to look at, right? This is obviously our previous range highs at the POC, $67,000, all the way down to the value area low at about $65,145. If we pull our volume profile, this is also a retest of the value area high. So when we leave a value area and get accepted into a new value area, the hope is to eventually fill this value area in full. So in a case of some kind of an extreme drop to the downside, this is a major macro level to hold, in my opinion. Let me pull up. Whoops. Yeah, and your anchored VWAP from the lows is, I mean, depending on how fast we come down, could very well become confluent with that, right? This is a big level to hold on top of to continue that uptrend. So if we come down and this becomes confluent, right, 67 to 65K is the biggest level to hold, in my opinion, on some kind of dramatic pullback. Maybe the longs then get squeezed. Shorts got squeezed. Maybe the longs then get squeezed for people FOMOing it at the top. So just be aware of that, right? Number one level, or the first big high time frame level, 67 to 65K. This is for longer-term traders, maybe long-term investors. If you see a big pullback, that's a level to watch, right? Very simply put. And inside the volume profile, we could get a very messy rotation, right? As long as we hold on top of this, you could still have that open door to the value area high. Now, of course, this major pullback is not guaranteed, so I will cover those local levels as well. So keep this in mind. Now, for the local levels, this is, of course, you know, for me personally, if I was not long, I do prefer bigger pullbacks. You know, back before we got the breakout, this is literally the day before the breakout, we covered our, where's my local range, right? As we were sitting inside of this local range, the last long setup that we had in the premium Discord was from our point of control, and we covered this level on the live stream as well for the YouTube audience. $64,000, right? The 64.1 down to right here, this box. POC down to we had a local fib in here and an anchored VWAP as well. The last long setup that we had in the Discord was literally from this point of control / Fibonacci confluence. If you're looking for an aggressive entry, it's going to be right there. Literally tap into that POC perfectly before the big push up. These are honestly, for me, if I was not holding a long, maybe I'd be interested in that. I did not even take this trade because I was already holding my long from 58K. But the levels I'm about to show you right now are much more local pullbacks like this, which in an aggressive uptrend can end up playing out very nicely. But I do just want you guys to be aware that these are very local levels. And the kind of trader I am, again, holding the trade from much lower, it's not something I'm necessarily interested in. But I will just cover them for you because they're really the only levels that we can look at. So, number one, let me just pull up. We are currently above the 2021 all-time high. This is sitting at about 69,203, right? 69,182. Major level, right? Because when we look at this from a high time frame perspective, like this structurally is a major level, right? If we can hold this aggressively, this is a massive level to hold. Now, we also do have local confluence in there as well. I think I have it in a folder. Local support. This is also confluent with our local Fibonacci retracement from the first major push-up, retracement from the low to the high. This has moved couple dollars up. This sits between 69,803 to 68,853. Golden pocket 786. Previous value area high. I would say If we get a bigger pullback, this is the first local level to look at if we are just going to continue an aggressive move up and the bears are absolutely going to be in super pain. This is the first local level to hold. Let's pull up our volume profiles to get a little bit of context in here. Once we lose that 786, maybe we see the bigger pullback down towards that POC and the major high time frame support. But again, in these big pushes up, there's not much I can do with this price action, right? Just like yesterday. Like, I can't really, like, there's no medium time frame range to pull here, right? Like, this is not a volume profile I would pay attention to. The only thing you can really do is, like, pull hyper local volume profiles. Like, could you pull something like this? Potentially, yes. Maybe. But this is just super, super local. And again, for me, it's not a place where, I would rather look for more longs on a bigger retracement. So, this is one of those situations where you're just kind of enjoying the move up. You just got to wait for Bitcoin to kind of figure out what it wants to do. If we come down there, right, this would be the biggest level on the chart as of right now. And then, of course, right, like, once we lose this, lose that 786, right, we could look to get sucked back down towards the POC, which, again, is major, major support. So even a pullback to here would not necessarily mean that I think we are going down to a new low. If we lose this, I still would not necessarily make that my base case. You have major, 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 major support here. This is the most important support. Once we lose this, then this would be, this would kind of be like an early sign of weakness, but losing this is really what would make me think like, okay, bear market, fake out, we're just going right back down. Because at that point, you're accepted back into your local profile. There it is, right? At that point, you're starting to lose your macro profile. You're starting to break into your lower profile. At that point, you expect the bigger drop to the downside. It's all about volume profile rotations, guys. Here's your volume profile to the downside. Here's your volume profile to the upside. Once we take the long down here, we look for the local profile to fill. We see the daily money flow coming up. As we see that, we say the uptrend can continue. Once you break above here, let's push through that profile. And more importantly, let's push through that low volume gap for a fast move down and a fast move up. So local level I'll be watching. 69,803 to 68,853. Lose that. I would simply be patiently waiting for the POC and value area low, which is a much more important macro level at 66,973 and 65,145. Pretty simple. Other than that, we are right on track with what we have been waiting for in the Discord. Very simply put. Let's see. Yeah, more importantly, your dad is not bought in yet, so chill. So just chill. Shout out to Mr. Judd. We'll see. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, that is one big indicator that has not fired yet. Yeah, we'll take a look at Solana. Shout out to can't see that name. I gotta increase this text size, guys. Just make sure I didn't miss anything. Shout out to Noni, says, would love to buy lower again, but we'll enjoy this hated rally. Time to wreck some filthy bears. Yeah, shout out to Noni. I'm in the same camp, bro. I would love an opportunity to look to buy lower as well. But if not, right, exposed to the market, which is, again, why I like a dollar cost average strategy for long-term bags, right? Because by the time you are in a situation where you feel comfortable enough, right, like, if we go back down, I'm happy to buy lower. I love the position I'm in, right? Because we go down, I'm like, all right, beautiful. Like, I can buy lower. I'm never going to hate that on Bitcoin. But by the time, the reason I like to accumulate, what some could argue a little bit early, like even in 2022, right? I start buying here. People think I'm crazy. But my plan is that we can go lower, and I'm happy to buy lower. But the reason I like that is because by the time something like this happens, it's not like you're going, oh my God, bottom's in, let me buy the retracement, and you're going to nail the bottom, and then you still have a good entry price. No. The psychology there is, oh my God, the bears go, idiots, told you, lower high, lower low, told you. Oh, no, hang on, lower high, lower low, told you. Oh, wait, no, lower high, told you. And then eventually, by the time you want to buy in, you have already missed your chance. The situation I'm in personally is like, cool, like even back here. If we go up, great. I'm exposed. I love it. I have enough. I'm great. If we go lower, I will just deploy the rest of my capital. So pretty happy with my positioning here. Have you looked at Wyckoff distribution compared to this? No, I have not. I'm not a big Wyckoff guy. I mean, I know how it works. But yeah, maybe I'm not like an expert on Wyckoff, but does it line up? That would be nice. That would be nice. And just to be clear here, guys, again, right? I am not like whether we continue to push up right now or we have to pull back or continue up. There are very likely massive dumps to come in here. It does not necessarily mean like looking here, right? After the 2022 bottom comes in, whoops. There are massive dumps here, right? Get the bears excited, right? Like even here, oh my God, get the bears excited. I mean, maybe even here. There are big dumps to come in. Like that is obviously something I would expect. So, you know, even if we wash out the longs, right, it could just be like a massive liquidation. And there is still, you know, again, depending on what the charts look like here. If the charts look like trash, it's like, all right, cool, maybe we should get the big fake out. But it doesn't just mean like if the bulls just get like squeezed here and we see like a massive capitulation, it doesn't instantly mean that we're going to 30K. So you got to be careful. Yes, we got. I think I already read that. We could see Solana, no problem. Shout out to Dismazed. Yo, Frankie is the bottom in. I actually just explained that in the beginning of the live stream. Let me just hide this. And we talked about this yesterday as well. We actually talked about it a couple weeks ago. In order to confirm that the bottom is in, right? Like the way we handle these bottoms is we start to look for the macro confirmations, right? Which of course we do have a lot of those macro confirmations, like I showed you here. Right? Weekly bull divs. Can even go ahead, draw them down here for you. Weekly bull divs. Big capitulation, fill it. Big capitulation, wiggle around, fill it. Big capitulation, wiggle around, fill it. And we start to say, well, hey, this is very interesting. This makes me feel good about starting my dollar cost averages, right? In order to confirm the bottom is in, like when can you say the bottom was in confirmed? Here. Right? Well, number one, you could look at the flip of the structure. And something else you can pay attention to just from a simpler perspective is the bull market support band, right? So our bull market support band, we are now sitting above it. Maybe it's interesting, guys. It's interesting. You know, it does not mean that you can't close back down below this and continue down, but you know, you really want to see these flips of structure. So back here, it's like, all right, we're above the bull market support band on these pullbacks, right? It's not until you get above that bull market support band and come back down for retests that you would say, hey, if we can hold this and continue up, that looks like the bottom is in, right? Because you retest that bull market support band, even this structure right here, and then you rip right through the actual high, flip that into support. Now the bottom is very likely in, and then once you break into that upper volume profile, the bottom is in. So if we compare this to where I would say it looks like we are in the cycle, or, you know, just from a technical perspective, of course, if you're looking at the 4-year cycle, we're, you know, people expecting 30K are saying that we're here, right? So if you're looking at the 4-year cycle, you're saying we're here. So obviously if the bottom is not in, the 4-year cycle plays out, this is not going to happen. But, you know, again, here, we did not have massive weekly bullish divergences into major support. So, you know, I have my biases for a reason. But, you know, if this is, you know, it does look like we are potentially somewhere right here. So, if we can flip the bull market support band and then break through that structure and start flipping this, that is where we can start questioning or saying, like, hey, this looks like the bottom is very likely in, which, again, would be the most painful part for the bulls. For the bears, I'm sorry. And it's a very difficult situation, guys, because if we get up there and we start getting big pullbacks and it's just assumed, like, the bottom is in, this pullback, the bears are going to feel very validated. And they're going to be like, ha, see, told you. And that sentiment is going to be very hard to fight against. And you may say to yourself, well, hey, if that confirms that, if that's going to be the confirmation that the bottom is in, well, you're not buying the bottom anymore, which is why we talk about DCAing on the way down when no one wants to pay attention, right? So I would say, like, starting to flip this structure as we covered the past few days and weeks, you have to wait a little bit for that confirmation, right? It's just like on the top, right? Like, this is not where you say the top is confirmed, right? It's not until you see those signs of weakness that you say the top is confirmed. It's similar here, right? This is not where I said the bottom was confirmed. I said, hey, basically similar to where we are now, weekly bull divs got a lot of technical confirmations here that's saying the bottom could be in, right? But I can't really confirm that until we start breaking that structure, right? And if people don't want to buy on the way down, right, well, they're stuck buying on the way up, right? Which, can't really help with that, right? It's like you either risk it for the biscuit, and there is a risk there, right? We could have gone lower. There is a risk here. We can go lower. But it won't be until, in hindsight, it's like when we start talking about the bottom being confirmed, right? Like, the bags have been accumulated down here. So, again, this is why you want to understand how to read the charts and not pay attention to sentiment, if that is the case, right? So we still got a little bit to actually confirm, but we do have a lot of those technical indications that happened at the bottom before that confirmation came in. So we'll keep an eye on it, and I'll keep you guys updated as the price action develops. Let's see. Whoever is FOMOing, just look at the RSI. Yeah, I mean, I would not be FOMOing in right now. That is for sure. As I mentioned before, right? Like, obviously, you're overbought pretty much here on every single time frame. But overbought, like, on the 4-hour time frame does not mean 40K, right? So you have to think of this short-term and long-term, right? Like, price moves in ebbs and flows. And that's why I look at money flow to anticipate the trend, such as the daily money flow, right? Trending up, 3-day money flow, trying to cross into the green. This gives me the overall thought process of the continuation of a trend, right? Not go up right now. These money flow crossovers, as a matter of fact, right, these higher hourly time frames, like even your 10-hour, your 12-hour, your 16-hour, right? These are overbought, right? This indicates some kind of pullback, right? But on that pullback, with the money flow coming up, you can entertain the idea of higher lows and higher highs, right? Higher lows and higher highs. So yeah, like, obviously FOMOing in after this big rip up is something that is not ideal. My initial bear market target was based upon a fib poll nobody talks about, which is the past 3 bear markets interacted with the 236 retracement when we've only barely touched the 382 from the past 3 bear markets. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. I'm not 100% sure exactly what you're looking at. It's kind of hard to decipher this stuff through the chat. But I will leave you. Shout out to Nick Dunn, said, love you, Frankie, no FOMO. No FOMO. Of course. right, this is why like my job is kind of hard, right? Because like when I talk about potential continuations up, obviously, hopefully for most people, they know that doesn't mean buy the top, right? Like even here, right? Like I would not say like even here when you continue up, I would never be like buying here personally. If you want to FOMO in and think we're going to continue up, that's totally fine. But any kind of big move up like this, it's like if I was not in, I could not chase this. I would have to just wait for this to eventually get some kind of a pullback. Another interesting thing here, guys, when we pull up our local support, also comes very close to that bull market support band. So right on that 2021 all-time high. Where'd it go? Let me just redraw that real quick. Yeah, like right in there. Interesting. So we'll see. Will the 4-year cycle play out? And we lose this and go lower. Well, I would say we're approaching those levels if you're looking for that, where that would come in. But again, money flow, like even that weekly money flow, attempting to cross up. Not cross, but attempting to trend up, right? This is not enough for me to be like, oh my God, we're about to cross over. But it's headed in the right direction, right? 2-week bull divs on top of that. And we talked about this in the past as well, right? 2-week money flow crossovers do typically indicate the bottom is in or close. But money flow crossovers into the red, that is, right? A lot of people would look at this and be like, oh, money flow crossover, continuation of a massive trend. Not on the 2-week, right? 2-week, historically, the two money flow crossovers have actually indicated that the bottom is in, right? You're not looking for an overall continuation. Bottom is in, weekly money flow crosses red, little retracement, continuation up. Still a higher low. Back here, 2-week money flow crossover into the red, bottom is in, higher low. 2-week money flow crossover, bottom is in, higher low. 2-week money flow crossover, bottom was not in, but it was very close. So something to look at. And another big thing to look at on top of that, a very simple signal that you can look at is the monthly green dot, which of course is getting close to printing. It's not there just yet, but this has a 100% hit rate for the bottom being in. Bottom's in, bottom's in, bottom's in. We are very close to printing that monthly green dot. And again, when I talk about 2022, the difficulty here, when we talk about like the confirmation of the bull market, the difficulty here is back here on these bullish divergences, it was much easier to say this is very, very, very likely the bottom, right? Even before the confirmation comes in, right? The reason for that is because you had all the technical factors and the cycle factors all lining up perfectly here. Here, we have all the technical factors, which is usually what I base my decisions off of, but we have the elephant in the room, which a lot of people are starting to get tripped up on, which is the cycle timing and the cycle percentages calling for much lower. So that is a big difficulty that we have here, which is why I really am going to stress the confirmation instead of, until we see that confirmation, I would say I'm pretty optimistic, where here it's more like, hey, guys, I don't know what else you would be looking at to go to 8K, right? Maybe we squeak to 12K or something, but like here, bull divs, technical factors, and the 4-year cycle all lining up. It's a little easier to say here, I don't know how much lower you want to go. Here, I could say, if you're looking for lower, I kind of get it, right, based on the 4-year cycle, but I am not going to ignore those technical confirmations just like we did at the top. So there you go. Shout out to Olav. I don't know how to say your name, bro. He said you got the skills, Frankie. Shout out to you, brother. Could easily fake out. Still. Yeah. Would say until you break that major 786, right? Like you are not out of the woods until we get up here and break that high and hold this high. Because again, from a range perspective, like even the Fibonacci retracement, right? Like this is a massive, massive level to break. Let me try to compare this to these fibs basically be something like this. Yeah, so you can see how sketchy this kind of gets, right? You push above the bull market support band into the 786, right? And then you get the pullback, and it's like, oh my God, is that the lower high? Nope. Hold on to the bull market support band, and then you push through that structure and flip it into support. Even here, you got one more little wick down there. So here, it's like if you want to take out this high, right, decisively, you have to get above that 786 golden pocket and then hold on top of it, right? We get above it, we slip it, and then we push above. Whoops. So here, there could be some effery that goes on here, right? And you did actually take out the high, right? Because I was just going to say, looking at this from like a range perspective, like, of course, you take out this range high, like, we'll probably be interested in shorts up there if we get up there, right? Fake it out, look for a pullback, right? Could that end in a massive fake out? Yeah, of course it can. It absolutely can. I won't know how high probability that big move down to a new low is going to be until we get up there and see what the charts look like. But it is going to be a key level to look at. And if it plays out like 2022, it could be super effery where you fake it out, come back down, and then just hold and continue up. So it's going to be difficult. You really want to decisively flip that into support, right? You could fake it out, dip back below, and then you flip it. Again, it's going to be impossible to call exactly what that price action is going to look like, but just to give you an idea of, you could potentially push above here, right? And then if you end up closing back down here, that would be bearish for a rejection, even if you take out the high. So again, it is a major flip, right? Push above it, flip it into support, and hold. Then that would be what I would call a strong sign of strength. Oh, shout out to Daniel, says the 236 question was pulling from the all-time high to previous bear market low. Like that? This is not how I would pull a fib. Like, for me, this would be pulling the fib backwards. Assuming that this would be your support. For me, like, when you pull a fib, you want to pull it from low to high for support and from high to low for resistance. I've never pulled a fib backwards like that. So, yeah. I don't know. Maybe you have a legitimate theory or thought process behind that, but for me, that is not a valid fib pull for me. Whether that is a definitive incorrect or not, maybe some people look at it like that, but that would be a backwards fib pull for me, if that's what you're talking about. So, yeah, I don't want to push you away from what you're looking at. I mean, it could be legit, but for me personally, that would be a backwards fib pull. Doesn't mean that 41K would not be a key support level, though, because the key level that I look at here is POC of this previous ETF range, sitting between 42 and the value area low at about 40,500. Still a big level that we've been looking at, and that does line up. So just to give you a little validity there, even if it is backwards, there is a key level there from what I look at. So interesting. But yeah, guys, it is pretty crazy to see this all fill through that macro volume profile. And once again, guys, I can't stress it enough. Like, and I really don't want people to think that I pull this up to promote the Discord. I think if anybody comes in here, it's like, I usually push people, if they're just learning how to trade, to learn from the free information on the YouTube channel first. The reason I show you guys this is to show you what we look at to anticipate these moves. And the most goated thing ever. Two things: volume profiles and money flow. MF. Mother effing money flow. Deviation below the low, bullish confirmations. We want to see that money, trying to catch the money flow crossover early. Div pushes us up. As we push up, we see that money flow continue. We flip the resistance into support. We know breaking that POC is the doorway. Boom. It is the perfect example to explain to you guys how this analysis works, because it's just a perfect learning opportunity, because it's exactly what we look for. It plays out exactly. When this happens, I like to re-go over what we look at so you guys can use this on your own charts, and maybe you're looking at a different asset. It all works the same. Whether you're trading gold, you could trade dog poop futures, and it will work the same. Insane, right? We expect the pullback. Money flow tells us it's likely to be a higher low and a higher high. Break into the profile. The profile lets us know the roadmap and the next stops for price. Very simple. So there you go. So we went over the local levels. We went over the macro levels. We went over the overall thought process of where we are in the cycle. And we're going to go ahead and continue to hold on to those longs. I think I might have it open here. There it is. Just absolutely cooking with that next target at about $78,000. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Oh, yo, speaking of money flow, shout out to Crypto Phase with the super chat. Said, Frankie, is that you trading the chop after the big move? Shout out to Crypto Phase. Crypto Phase, we in from the lows. Profits locked in, brother. Thanks to money flow, bro. Shout out to Market Cypher. Crypto Phase. Show some love to Crypto Face in the chat right now, because he's the one that blessed us with money flow and Market Cypher B and Market Cypher A and DBSI. Shout out to Crypto Face, the GOAT, in the chat. Show him some love. I don't think there's a mask emoji, but I don't know. Throw a face emoji in there for Crypto Face. Shout out to you, brother. Hope you're doing well, man. Hope you're doing well. Unbelievable, bro. Changing lives out here with money flow. Insane. What do you think? Face, what do you think? Let me know. Let me know what you think. And speaking of money flow, my overall thought process, bro, is at least for accumulation, pull up the Bitstamp chart for the and the spider lines. Shout out to Crypto Face for the spider lines as well. When we say GOAT, we do not use that term lightly. Weekly money flow in the red, bro. Some from the Market Cypher creator. You let me know, bro. Am I seeing this wrong? Money flow crossover into the red. Big capitulation. Not a bad time to accumulate Bitcoin. Literally has called it every single time. Weekly money flow crossover, capitulation, accumulation. Weekly money flow crossover, capitulation, accumulation. Money flow crossover. I wasn't even here for any of this. Capitulation, accumulation. 2-week money flow in the red. Historically marking the bottom being in. I don't know, bro. We got a lot of signals here. 2-week money flow cross. I don't know, man. Monthly green dot looking to print too. I don't know. Let me know what you think, brother. Are you looking at some kind of secret Market Cypher signal that may be pointing towards something different? Let's see. Wish I didn't take profits. Shout out to Crypto Face. He's probably up like $7 million, I would assume. Shout out to Face. But hey, bro, you paid yourself, man. You paid yourself. Oh, there is a mask emoji. I'm actually wrong. There's a face with a mask emoji. Drop that emoji for Crypto Face in the chat. Some spider lines whispering. Let's actually take a look at the spider lines. I was looking at this right before the stream. Pull them up on the Bitstamp chart. Where are they at? No, I'm sorry. Over here. Spider line holds up. I mean, the next, let me pull these up real quick. What are these? These are the 2018 spider lines. Both of them, I think. Yeah. So I look at two of them. I look at the 2018 spider lines and then the ones from here as well. From a 2018 perspective, the next major spider line sets up towards 94K. Whew, baby. Interesting. Let me check these on non-log. Okay. And then we'll pull up the current spider lines as well. Heikinashi and regular. Yeah, pulling these on non-log. Obvious big pocket of spider lines here. Where's this come in? 71K. Next cluster sits up towards 77 to 78, lining up almost perfectly. With that volume profile pull at the value area high. Interesting stuff here. That volume profile ends up filling in full, would run you right into not only these pocket of spider lines, but also your major resistance confluence. Yeah, 76 to 78K, guys, is the big resistance. Doesn't mean we have to get up there, but if we did, I would prefer major positions here rather than the local level we're pushing into right now. It's not to say we can't reject from where we are, but looks pretty strong. Make sure I didn't miss anything here in the chat. What do you think about loads of liquidity under 60K? Actually, let's pull. We did not take a look at the liquidation heat maps just yet. Let's take a quick look at those. So when we look at the liquidation heat maps, there's the 67 to 68 liquidity. Again, either massive swing failure pattern or a massive short squeeze. We push in there, right? Push into the first area liquidity, starts the squeeze, continues the squeeze, and we just keep pushing up. The way I use liquidity, as I discussed yesterday, is not necessarily to look for, oh my God, we have a bunch of liquidity. There we go. We have a bunch of liquidity down below, 62K, leading us down into like 60K, and then you have a little bit of liquidity down here at 58. I don't look at this as, oh my God, is there a brush tool? I don't think there's a brush tool here. I don't look at this as, oh my God, we have to go sweep that liquidity. I look at liquidity as magnets. There's your magnet. There's your magnet. And I mean literally like a magnet. Price, liquidity. The closer price gets to the liquidity, the stronger the magnet becomes. And then once you get close to it, boom, right? Just like this. When we sit here, right, we say, well, hey, if we're in the middle of these two liquidity levels, I don't say we have to go here first or have to go here first, but the closer you get, the stronger that magnet becomes. So, and I just look at these as areas of interest, right? When I got up here to this major liquidity, I could say to myself, well, hey, maybe I can look for some kind of a swing failure. You don't get it, you look for the squeeze, right? You just look for that continuation up. So this is an area where, hey, maybe I can get an SFP, maybe I can get a liquidity sweep. If I don't get that confirmation, then I will simply not take the trade and look for a continuation up. It'll be the same thing up here, right? That liquidity is now swept. Up here, closer to 76 to 78K. We have another little hot spot of liquidity. So I do not look at this as, oh my God, we have to go squeeze that. But if we creep closer, this will be a place where I'll be interested in looking for a potential fake out. Same thing for down here. And typically, the closer you are to the liquidity, the stronger the magnet, right? So you could argue, if you want to look at this from a direction standpoint, maybe you go for that upper liquidity first, but for the most part, I just look at these as areas of interest. If we get down here, I'll pay attention to that liquidity for an opportunity. If we get up here, I will look at that liquidity for an opportunity. I'm really only interested in taking trades at those areas where I have areas of interest, right? So there you go. Did CryptoFace tell us what he thinks? Don't want to miss that. Could be the missed sauce of a century. What is going on here? There we go. Shout out to Rockstar Cola. Welcome in, brother. Said, what's up, guys? My hands were so flat from sitting on them for so long that I didn't change my buy orders that were set at 39K. I knew I should have set some DCAs around 59K. Shout out to Rockstar Cola. It's all good, brother. It's all good. For your case, hopefully we can get a big pullback. But there you go, guys. I'm going to take a quick look at some of the altcoins. And then I'll just go over the key zones you should be paying attention to before we rip on out of here. Solana, Starting off with, actually, let's start off with Ethereum. Ethereum, next major key level. We barely front ran this 2367 weekly and daily horizontal with a daily MPOC, right? We look inside this profile, flip the value area low or hold the value area low. Next likely stop for price is the POC. As long as you remain inside the range, the doorway to the POC is still open. Once you flip the POC, we look for our next major confluent zone of resistance, which, I mean, I already took them off the chart. Are they deleted or hidden? I think they are deleted. But the first one was the about $2,000 where we had the daily MPOCs, which are deleted now. They're not here, but they were between about, I believe, 2,000 and 2130. We ripped above those. Yesterday, we look at this next target. Sitting right here at, call it 23. This is not physically tapped just yet. 2370 up to 2468. So, yeah, I mean, here we are. So, at this point, just take off some of these levels so everybody doesn't get dizzy. All right, really interested in the confluence. But, yeah, I would say just get my bearings here real quick. Yeah, I was trying to figure out what the top of that box was. It's your 2024 value area. Let me get rid of these price labels. So yeah, I mean this is going to be big resistance, right? Because overall, like long, like high time frame, right? I'm not saying you have to go here right away. I mean that'd be insane if we do get it. I mean price is ripping a lot harder than a lot of people are expecting, but you got to keep an eye on the local levels. But I would say overall, from the macro perspective, this is your overall macro volume profile. Pulled all the way from 2021, right? This is extended to current price action. Volume profiles are simple. Cheap, expensive price action, cheap price action. Value area high and above is expensive. Value area low and below is cheap. So, of course, Ethereum comes down to the lower end of the value. It's letting you know price is cheap. Get back on top of the POC. Like at the end of the day, right, this could be very volatile, but if that full volume profile rotates, that final big macro target is about 3316. Now, of course, we have to pay attention to the local levels as well, because it's not just, this doesn't mean that if you hold the value area low, you're just going to moon straight to the value area high, right? It could be confusing, right? Could be messy, but eventually you're looking for that full fill. So I would say the next local level to look at is going to be sitting right there. And when I take this macro range off and look at the upper profile, when we look at this from a high time frame perspective, high time frame bullish divergences, lower lows, higher lows, money flow trying to come back up, indicating the trend could potentially continue to the upside. There it is, right? This is going to be a resistance until proven otherwise. Maybe we get some pullbacks. But the main goal would be to push up, flip that value area low into support, and then we can start looking up towards about 2,700. So key zone number one, if we continue up, I mean, we've almost tapped this. The level is not tapped. Typically, I like to see these tapped. So we are barely front running that. But you are approaching resistance, so don't be surprised if you start getting some pullbacks. So yeah, but then eventually, if we can flip 2450, start looking up towards 2,700, and then look for that volume profile fill. So there you go. I mean, money flow on your weekly, trying to cross back into the green. You got your weekly bull div. I don't know, man. It's really the cycle that is really throwing a lot of this, like keeping that bearish case in mind, right? And I will not stop looking at, stop entertaining the idea of the bearish case until we see those major signs of strength. But, I mean, a lot of the technicals are there. It's really just the 4-year cycle, the timing, the percentages, that kind of stuff that is keeping the bear market opportunity open. So, shout out to Cap says the market is way smarter than you guys. When the majority waiting for October, when the majority is waiting for October, the market front running everyone. You will end up buying at 80K. Shout out to Cap. Yeah, and listen, that is something that I am not willing to. That is not a position I'm willing to put myself in, which is why for my long-term bags, as I explain constantly, I am not interested in waiting for some kind of specific price level to start my dollar cost averages. I base it all off of technicals, right? And again, if we go back down to make a new low, I see that as an opportunity to continue my weighted dollar cost average strategy. I still have some capital left. I'd be happy to buy lower, but I will not put myself in a situation when I have the technicals and the key levels being tapped, weekly money flow in the red, typically indicating it's not a bad time to start buying into Bitcoin. I want to be exposed, right? That way, if we go up, right, you get in this comfortable position where it's like, yeah, sure, if we go up, would I like to have bought more? Yes, but that is the case every single time, no matter where we are on price. If price is pumping, it's like you're always going to wish you bought more lower. So if we take off, it's like, well, beautiful. I stuck to my plan. I saw the technicals. I don't care if this is 5K, 100K, 50K, 30K. The number is less important to me than the technical confirmations, right? I just listen to my technical plans, dollar cost average in. If we take off, beautiful. I got my bag. And if we continue down, I can just look to deploy the rest of my capital. You don't have to be all in or all out. So yeah, it's why I talk about a dollar cost average strategy, because I literally cover exactly what you talk about every single day. It's like if you are just waiting for a 30K magical target, that is like the same thing as waiting for the magical 100K target up here and the magical 150K target up here. It's not bad to have those targets in mind, right? But when you see the technicals forming those confirmations, yes, we could have gone to 150K here, but once we see those technical confirmations, I am no longer looking for that target, right? So the number means a lot less than the technicals for me personally. And having that plan just puts you in a comfortable position. I have been in situations where I have to buy on the way up, and I don't want to put myself in that position again. Back here, I handled it beautifully. Dollar cost averaging in, buying lower, right? And then we see the sign of strength. I'm exposed. Enjoy the bull market, right? I don't have to be like, I'm waiting for 10K. I'm waiting for 8K. I will not buy, and then have to buy on the way up. So it's kind of like, I don't know, you're in a good situation regardless. And of course, if you continue up here, it's like, oh man, I wish I just went all in and sold my kidneys down here. Sure, you're going to feel like that, right? But if we go down, you're going to be thinking, oh my God, I wish I bought lower, right? So instead of trying to time the exact high or low, or trying to time the exact low, spread out your risk, right? Use a dollar cost average method. Right? If we get a massive dump, I will crank up the size of the bags that I buy. But yeah, I mean, we talk about this every single day. If we take off, I'm happy. If we dump, I'm also happy. There's going to be a trade-off in either direction. We go up, I'm going to wish, oh my God, I wish I sold my kidneys. If we go down, I'm like, oh my God, I wish I bought. Like, you're going to have that gross feeling in your stomach to some degree in either direction, right? So just set yourself up where you're going to win either way. Let's see. Yeah, shout out to Cap. Yeah, DCA is the best strategy. There's no man, it moved. No stress about timing the bottom. Yeah, 100%, right? It's different for my leverage trades. My leverage trades, I'm trying to catch the bottom. I think my long from 58K is, where is that? My long from 58K is around this exact entry. I think it's like 50, I think it's like 58.8, something like that, 58.7, 58.8, right? I'm like more interested in catching a lot of my leverage trades, right? Like for dollar cost averaging, for instance, back in 2022, right? My entry is not like right on that wick, right? But I don't care because I'm holding this for a massive bull market, right? So I don't really necessarily care as much about catching that exact bottom. My entry was actually closer to like 20K. 20 to 21K, right? But when you're expecting a big move up like this, right, you don't really necessarily care about missing that tiny bit, right? You've caught a majority of that move. So there you go. Taking a quick look at Solana. So we talked about this, holding the key zone. Anchored VWAP PLC was the key level you did not want to lose. If we lost this, very likely You go back down to the value area low. We end up slipping it, flipping it into support, breaking out of your profile, back into our old profile, above the low, into the POC. We are now flipping the point of control. Next target, very simple to the upside. 89.82 to 91.17. You have your value area high, your weekly MPOC. This is a medium time frame target, right? You could get pullbacks as long as we hold on top of the POC. Key support right now locally for Solana will be the POC of the range, 84.75. Once you hold that, you can keep that target open at the value area high. If we lose the POC, you can look down to the value area low. This is the biggest level to hold on top of because, of course, at this point, if you lose this value area low, you're probably, very likely, we start impulsing out of here. You're going to get gravitated towards your previous area of value. At this point, right, we have broken out of our previous value, and I got it accepted into your upper previous value. The hope here is to just stay inside the range and fill the volume profile in full. Volume profile calls for the overall continuation up here. If you get small pullbacks, biggest key levels, 84.73 at the POC. Lose that. Biggest level, 81.46. Very simple. I would just be playing this as a volume profile. And then high time frame, very similar to everything else, right? High time frame bull divs. And, when I take all these local levels off the chart, and we just look at this from a higher time frame perspective, let me actually just pull this volume profile. So two ranges you can look at here. Knew I had this somewhere. I would actually, there we are. Let's take this off. This is old. So here is your macro profile. So from a high time frame perspective, right, when we look at this through the lens of the volume profile, look at that gap. It's kind of wild. This might fill it in a little bit. Yeah, not even. I mean, start cracking this structure. Pretty nice volume fall off between the value area low and these highs, right? So very similar to Bitcoin before we got the bigger move up. Flip, I would say about $90. Start breaking into this profile. Not a lot holding you back. Like I mentioned in the past for Bitcoin, fast move down could equal a fast move up. Bringing you into your previous value, flip that value back to the POC, flip the POC up to the high. So for the bullish case here, high time frame divs, money flow, attempting, to curve up here. Not quite crossing over, but attempting to cross up. Not that it doesn't mean you're not going to get pullbacks or anything like that, but eventually if we can start cracking above like $98, break into this low volume gap, it is very similar to this idea right here. Low volume gap, break in, push it up. Fast move down, fast move up. Very similar. I got to clean up this Solana chart. Just want to see. Just look at this profile real quick. Yeah. And this is also the POC of this previous range. Yeah, around that like $98 to $100 mark, this would get you right inside that gap. So, yeah. Overall, see the 4-day money flow trying to cross green. I mean, 4-day money flow crossover could indicate continuation. So, if we get pullbacks, whether it's from here or up here, right, higher lows and higher highs to eventually continue the overall trend. Let me just pull up some high time frame resistances, because I want to see what that gap fill lines up with real quick. If it lines, I mean, it lines up obviously with the volume. Let me just see here. Yeah, this. I don't want to spend too much time going through these folders. I'm going to clean this up right after the stream. But I could almost guarantee you, there it is. Yeah, basically just up to that value area low. So yeah, I'll clean this up for you just so you can get a better view. So there you go. I would say this is like the biggest level to break, 98 to $100. Get that? We could start seeing this thing cook to the upside. So there you go. That's what I'd be looking at on Solana. Tomorrow down to 59K. That'd be insane. Let's see here. XRP, yeah, we could take a look at XRP. So XRP, we talked about this yesterday. Can't make it up. I mean, obviously over the past, crazy sideways, biggest key level of support. We've had this marked off on the chart for I cannot tell you how long. Where is it? Pull up the daily, right? Bottom of the golden pocket was the untapped level. We draw down, tap into the bottom of the golden pocket, get the bounce. This is the level you want to hold on top of. If you do not want the big move down to 82 cents, and until we could get out of this value area, literally looked at this yesterday, breaking above this 786 would trigger the move through the low volume gap, pushing us into the bigger 786 value area low, sitting at $1.34. As long as we remain inside this range, let me hide the volume. As long as we remain inside this macro profile, it is a bit sketchy, right? Because if we can't get out of here, could go back down to the PLC, sitting at 82 cents, right? This was our only level of support, literally the last level that held. Got a beautiful, absolutely insane rip of 36% from that top of the golden pocket into and rejecting the exact value area low we talked about on the live stream yesterday, breaking above that 786. So we are now above this. Still a level you want to hold on top of. It's like still a major key level. Let me just take this off, right? So at this point, your hope is that you can stay outside of your massive lower profile and stay, I mean, ideally, you break into this one, right? But if we could stay generally outside of that profile, break back in here, next move or your next goal for XRP would be to flip this $1.34 value area low into support. Once you hold inside here, could be looking for the move up to the POC at $1.42 and the value area high at $1.45. So this is your next major value area above. Mark these off. And your biggest key level of support is going to be the previous value area high at $1.21. And you could play with this a little bit. Like really what you don't want to do is get back in and get a bearish retest and a rejection. At that point, right, not good. But this is very nice push out. And you're now out of the danger zone. Doesn't mean you can't get back in, but you are currently out of the danger zone. So now you want to get accepted up here. 6-hour money flow trending up, indicating the trend can continue to the upside, right? So based on the 6-hour, pullbacks can be looked at as lackluster for higher lows and higher highs. If we do dig back into this profile, it doesn't mean, right? Let's just pull our full fib here. Pull it to the impulse. Yeah, so I would say just generally you want to hold on top of this zone. If you do, look for a bounce out of here from the golden pocket or the 786. You want to make sure on the way up you're looking at that value area high as your biggest key level of resistance. If you can't flip back above that, you could get sucked back into the profile. But money flow is indicating that the trend can continue to the upside. So this actually doesn't look super bad. Taking a look at the higher time frame, 10-hour money flow coming up, weekly green dot printing. So if that weekly green dot, or I'm sorry, if this 10-hour money flow crosses into the green and that weekly green dot confirms at the same time, that would be technically a very high time frame market cipher B 1/16th bullish setup. So you got some things here, guys. You got some things. Take a look at the daily money flow, also trying to trend up. Weekly money flow still deep in the red. 5-day money flow, bullish divergence. 5-day bull div confirmed at the low there. 3-day bull div, exaggerated bull div at the low, but directly into that golden pocket zone, or not zone, exact dollar key level. You lose this, right? Massive drop. Fast drop probably, because straight line up could be straight line down. So lucky that we held on top of that. And again, it's like and even to say, if this were to somehow, for some reason, just come back down and get a massive capitulation down to 50 cents or whatever everybody calls for on XRP, where is the loudest XRP hate? Shout out to Way589. And this is not even me like defending XRP. It's just like talking about the psychology of investing and trading. XRP is garbage. It's going to zero. 50 cents incoming, 50 cents incoming right before a 36% move to the upside. And that doesn't mean you can't eventually maybe one day go down there. But it's just like, when the sentiment gets that bad, typically you're about to go the opposite way. And from a trading perspective, you don't even care if you're going down to 50 cents eventually. It's you want to ignore that sentiment, because if you're going to be looking for anything at support, it's going to be a long, not a short. So, just trying to keep you guys on the right sides of the trades here. So there you go. I don't want to get too carried away into the altcoins. I will start covering more altcoins on the live stream as we are starting to get a little bit of excitement back into the market, but we are running up on 2 hours for the stream. I am not going to be live for 5 hours today like we were yesterday, but there you go. Here we are. Right on track, guys. Right on track. So I will leave you guys with the key levels to watch next, which is going to be number 1, golden pocket sitting between 73, 74K, local resistance on your current value area high. Not a level you want to ignore. But for me personally, I prefer the 786. All right. Could you get a rejection at the golden pocket? Absolutely. We're overbought. Again, I always prefer to see the level tap. It's currently front ran here. But, we are pushing into resistance. Could you get a pullback? Sure. Right. But overall, if we can flip that and come up here, this is really the more significant level of resistance for me personally. And this is also lining up with the previous macro value area high, which would give us that full fill of this range. So there you go. Zone number 1, 73 to 74 to the upside. Zone number 2, 75, 650 to call it 78K. Psychological level. So yeah, we are approaching major resistance, and just the fact that this is your macro golden pocket 786 is just a standalone major level of resistance. Get above that, flip it into support, looking to take out the highs, and then we can really start to talk about this thing potentially being over. So there you go. And then locally, just to give you guys the hyper-local level. Where is it? Where is it? Sitting there on your previous. I'll just go 2021 all-time high. Oh, didn't work. It's because the trend line's further to the right. But there you go. This sits previous 2021 all-time high, 786 golden pocket, local level, 69,803 to 68,853. So now you got the local levels, the macro levels, and looks like maybe that front run of the golden pocket is going to get tapped. So you guys know my plans. I am chilling in my long position from 58K, enjoying the gains, and we're just sitting here trying to wait for those key levels to see if we can find some shorts on the way back down. So shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you guys all for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Smash that like button on your way out. I don't know if we got 550 likes, but if we get them before the music ends, we will do the giveaway tomorrow. Shout out to Wayne C. Shout out to Jesse. Shout out to Erica. Shout out to Wonton, Drop Shots. And last but not least, Captain Kirk, OG CandleMafia Mama. And shout out to Crypto Face for showing face in the chat, no pun intended, and showing some love. If you guys want to use Market Cypher B, you can use the link in the description down below to use 15%, to get 15% off. And yeah, guys, nice to finally see some volatility come into the market. So, yeah, I think that's all I got. Let me just pull up my OBS here and make sure I'm in my face cam. I will see you guys tomorrow. If anything crazy happens, maybe I'll drop an update earlier in the morning. But if not, we'll be here live with you guys. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go. At the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the